Somebody, good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here and to be liberated amongst our African brothers and sisters. Because that's what we're about. We're about liberation. Liberating ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually from an alien culture, alien culture's diet, alien culture's health standards. My area, as you know, is health. I'll focus on that because it's a big problem. It's a big problem when someone has forgotten why they eat. Just why do you eat? Someone has forgotten how to eat and when to eat. We seem to have forgotten that deliberately and on purpose. I was told to mention my books. I have one called Nutricide. It gets into the political aspects of food and how it's used to manipulate and control people. Planned under the United States government, a bunch of Europeans. The United States is a European country, by the way. We call it the United States of America. This gets into the political aspects of food. And of course, African holistic health, it gets into remedies. And I have a history book about West African culture, which my slave ancestors are part of, called Gullah. You say Gula. And then there's my sister, Dr. Jewel Cooper's book, Vitamins from A to Z, focusing on ethnomedicine. What we're talking about is ethnomedicine deals with how to treat a person based upon their race, based upon nutritional values which your race has is different from other races. Our nutritional balance is based on how well our bodies maintain a melanin level. That is the pigment that makes your skin brown, gives you those nice colors, causes your eyes to be brown, which causes your eyes to absorb more color. Melanin is in your ears, it causes your ears to absorb more sound. Melanin is in your taste buds, it allows your body to get the full flavor of food. Melanin causes your body to be classified as human. We call that you, which you call a human being. That's how people are classified based on melanin. Melanin allows you to speed nervous impulses in your body faster than any other race. You store more memory, we call it ancestral memory. The more melanin, the more ancestral memory you have. Melanin is known as a civilizing chemical. The more melanin you have, the more civilized you are, the more spiritual you are, the more psychic you are, the more human you are. We are doing some things to stop our melanins from working, and those things are called drugs. A drug is anything that's isolated and concentrated. If you isolate a chemical out of a plant, be it a poppy plant, you have made cocaine, and we call that a drug because it's isolated and concentrated. If you isolate the sugar from the sugar cane, you have a drug. If you isolate the starch from whole wheat, you have a drug. If you isolate the corn from corn oil, you have a drug. All drugs work by destroying, speeding up, or slowing down melanin. There is nothing else for drugs to work on except melanin. If you isolate and concentrate the African out of Africa, you have a drug Europeans use to get high, or call a Negro. I used to be a psychiatric person. Used to be a psychotherapist for the military, and I worked for a psychiatric corporation. I used to do group therapy, hypnotize a couple of groups and stuff like that. I used to help white people be white. I was really sick. So I realized after going to this school, since everybody was cheating, and all the schools I went to were white, they all cheated. I'm telling you what I know. I learned that school, a white school, is political. If they ask me to write a paper on Hansel and Gretel, I will write it in crayon and give it to them so I can make an A, so I can get the hell out of there. Because I'm trying to protect my brain. And the more you stand there, the worse off you are. It's best to just write that little stuff and get out. So I learned how to play that game that they play, but I never took their education as something serious. When I want to learn something, I learn it with you, and you. That's where I learn. I don't learn up with them. I learn from you, and you. And that's how you have to be educated, by your village. It takes a village to have a marriage. It takes a village to raise children. It takes a village in the African civilization to be a person. So I'm part of your village. The same thing that's happening here is happening where I live at today. The same thing. No difference. But we have a chance to overcome this. We have access to information. We have access to the legacy of Marcus Garvey, who is my hero above all the names you name. That's my hero. We have access to this information. We should use this information wisely. Remember, we're dealing with a military people. Europeans are military. You have to understand that. You have to understand military logic and white supremacy if you're going to deal with a European. There's nothing more military than black women. Anything you do is a tactic to give you an advantage. Watch a black woman pick out a pair of shoes. That's military logic. It's a tactic to give you an advantage. Eating nutritionally, getting away from all of that junk food is a tactic that you're using to liberate yourself. Think military. Because you're dealing with military people. Everything they do is a smoke screen for something else. Just like they're killing these cattle and calling you open mouth disease. There is no plague or famine in European history that wasn't created to give them a military advantage. They used the bubonic plague to get out of debt. If somebody owed you money, you just said they had the bubonic plague and killed them. That's all they did. So let's just realize that we have been manipulated by some military people. We best understand military logic if we want to deal with these Europeans. Food is used to manipulate and control you. They take away the thiamine, you feel suicidal. If they take away the manganese, you lose the ability to nurture your children and to love your children. That's how they grow plants without seeds. We put a manganese blocker in it so the plant can't absorb a mineral called manganese, and the plant will not have seeds. Then you eat the seedless plant and you lose the ability to nurture and love your own children. See how it's played? Whatever they do to plants, you are next. They learned how to regimentate and enslave plants, and they call that a plantation. Then you are next. You're missing the point here. Whatever they do to plants, you are next. The innocents of the monk learned how to breed peas so we can get the high yellow pea. You are next. Thank you. I just want to talk about something that's very essential to you. People seem to forget that you come here by sex. It took sex to bring you here. Is everyone with me on this? Okay. Now, in an African sense, if you're going to enter the course, sexual intercourse, it takes a man and a woman to enter the course. So by African definition, only men and women can have sex. a man and a man can masturbate each other, but they cannot enter the course. You follow me? So you can't use that definition. They are male masturbators and female masturbators, but they are not homosexuals. You follow me? I'm talking strictly African here. If you think of something natural about a man wanting to have sex with a bowel movement stuck in another man's behind, you're crazy. If I see teeth in the vagina, then the mouth is a sex organ. Prove me wrong. So women going around laughing on each other, that's not sexual intercourse, that's masturbation. Be clear on that. So we have to be clear on what we're talking about here. And we know that we're African people. We know that sex is a spiritual thing with us. We know that we should ask God to be present in the act of sexual intercourse. If God is not in the bed with you, then whatever you're doing, you're making demons. You have to have God in the bed with you. Some basic kind of things here we're talking about. So we got to get that basic thing straight. We have to understand that sex is a scientific thing put together by the greatest scientist I know of called God. There are two types of contractions that the vaginal muscles have. In twos and in threes, we call that male and female. Those muscles contract, they make colors, they make vibration. The vibration and colors are picked up by the erect penis, transported to the prostate gland that tunes the sperm, and then it's dumped into a cup in front of the wisdom R's, as they call it in the story. Oops. And then it goes into the cervix. This whole thing that you call sex is a dance of colors and music. But we have been taught to have sex as breeders. We are quietly raping each other, but we are not having sexual intercourse. Because sex is a spiritual thing. We have to go back and get some basic things correct here. Because a lot of us are born with the wrong vibration and spirit on us. You see? You have to cleanse yourself of this European invasion. We are practicing the sexual rituals of the Europeans. Chinese have different sexual rituals from the Japanese. What are our sexual rituals? We have to go back and get that straight. We are not sitting here to look at each other's behind. That's not the way African people look at each other. The shape of our bodies is attractive, I agree. But we are not looking at each other for the beauty of the shape. We're looking at each other's ass like we're selling toilet paper. We gotta cut this out. You're harming each other by the way you look at each other. So let's get some basic things straight. Then I can get you to the table correctly. Because when you were in your mother's womb, you were put on the correct eating schedule. The amniotic fluid is changed every 4 hours. It takes 4 hours for your stomach to empty, so you should have a meal every 4 hours. You put on the right eating schedule in your mother's womb. You come out and do the thing all backwards. Because someone has taught you how to eat for their benefit. You see, you're still eating like slaves. But I don't want to say that we can't overcome this. We are about the business of liberating each other. Everyone in this room is in therapy. Or searching for a therapist. I hope. So let's be kind with each other and know that we're trying to grow and develop, because a rat can survive. It doesn't take much to survive, but to grow and develop, that takes African intelligence. And the way to have your intelligence is to feed your brain correctly. Don't eat white flour. Don't eat cow's milk. Don't eat white sugar. Don't eat white salt. Get away from those basic poisons. And then maybe we can talk about some other things, like steaming your vegetables and how to do these wonderful meals that our ancestors did. But I just wanted to bring up the sex thing, because we got this whole thing backwards. You see? And be mindful of how you talk to each other, because we talk and hurt each other sometimes. Just be mindful of that. I'm mindful of the way people talk to me. I know people that are addicted to sugar, how they talk. How you doing, sugar? How you doing, honey? How you doing, sweetie? All on their mind is sugar. Just be mindful of the way you talk to each other. If it's not serving my aunt, drop the conversation. The purpose of me talking to you, the purpose of you listening to me is to serve my aunt, which means we're serving God. If the conversation is not serving God, stop talking. That's what gets us out of these arguments. Not all this confusion. I'm glad that you asked me to come back up, but I really have things to do. I have some people that need some help, some physical help, and I'm about helping them. I'm not up here to entertain you intellectually. That is not my purpose in life. My purpose is to serve my heart. That's what I'm about. And you stop me from serving my heart, I'm going to leave the platform. You got it? Now, that's 5 minutes. If I talk any longer, I'm going to pass the plate. You see what I mean? Because we all gathered here. I'm just listening.